Hey everybody, and a special Assalamu alaikum to all of my Egyptian viewers. I'm Gus with Egypt Adventures Travel, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about a new government announcement regarding street photography in Egypt. Before we jump into talking about street photography on your Egypt adventure, I want to tell everybody that I do customized itineraries. I hook up travelers with local guides and companies to take care of them while in Egypt. I lead guided tours myself, and I'm always here to answer any questions that you have about travel. Now, on to talking about public photography or street photography in Egypt. Egypt has gotten a reputation over the past few years as being a place that's kind of hostile toward folks who want to take photos and videos in public spaces. Whether this is at a tourist site like the pyramids or whether it's at a local market or somewhere on the street at a restaurant, anywhere. And the reason for this is that people have encountered either police or military stopping them and questioning, why are you taking a photo of this thing? Why are you taking a video? Sometimes people have had the police or military make them delete certain photos or videos that they've taken. This has happened to me a few times. And other times people have even had police or military confiscate certain pieces of equipment. Usually this is for larger cameras like a DSLR camera or like a large filming camera, or audio equipment like a microphone that's used to record audio. So people have been having a lot of negative experiences over the last few years, and they've been documenting this. There have been a lot of really well-known YouTubers who've done videos about their time in Egypt and have said that they had a really bad experience because security were constantly following them. They were making them delete certain parts of their footage that they'd taken, certain camera items were confiscated or drones were confiscated, and they just had an overall miserable time in Egypt. So that's kind of the climate that we're setting up for this announcement that was made by the Ministry of Antiquities in late July 2022. The Minister of the Tourism and Antiquities Ministry announced that all street photography or public photography in Egypt would be allowed without needing a permit for people who are using the photographs or videos for their own personal use. So think about like a tourist who wants to take a picture of the pyramids or who wants to snap a video at a restaurant in downtown Cairo. Or think about a local Egyptian person who might be on vacation with their friends and they want to take a snap somewhere or post a reel onto Instagram. So they're taking a video in Alexandria. So all of this public street photography, according to the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, is now supposedly allowed. But there's a couple of caveats. So caveat number one, they still will not allow photography or videos of military buildings or stuff involving the police or the military. So for example, if you are in a tourist site like the Giza Plateau, I would not recommend taking a photo or taking a video specifically of military installations, police officers, military vehicles. All of that stuff is still going to be a no-go for photography. There's also certain buildings that are heavily guarded by military and police. For example, there is a beautiful synagogue in downtown Cairo. If you have the chance to go see it, it's right by the Italian restaurant Aishu Melech. And this synagogue is guarded by police all of the time. I snapped a photo of it several years back, and within like a minute, somebody had walked up to me, plainclothes police officer, and said, "Show me your phone. Why did you take a picture of this building?" Made me delete the photos that I'd taken of the synagogue, and I was just like, hey, it's a beautiful building. I just wanted to take a picture. But this guy was like, no, you need to delete these photos. You can't take pictures of this building. So there's still certain things like anything involving military, police, or if you can tell that like the military police is like heavily guarding like one building or one thing somewhere, you're not going to want to take a photo or video of it. Or what you can always do is you can always go up to the person or one of the people who's guarding the area and say, hey, am I allowed to snap a photo? So that's caveat number one. Caveat number two is that we still don't know with certain tourist sites what's going to be allowed without a permit and what you'll still need to purchase an additional permit for. So when I've been going around, I just use my iPhone camera and I'm able to take pictures anywhere pretty much that I've gone now, including the Valley of the Kings and certain tombs and temples where I wasn't able to take photos before, or like inside the Egyptian Museum, for example. I'm able to take photos now with my cell phone without needing a permit. So they've already relaxed a lot of those restrictions inside of tourist sites. But if you have professional looking equipment, like if you have a nice DSLR camera, you still might need to be required to purchase a permit in order to take photos or videos at some of these sites. Whereas using your cell phone, you're gonna be just fine. Third caveat is that folks who make a living off of their videos or their photo content might still need to get a permit if they want to film or take photographs in Egypt. Egypt has announced that people who are doing cinematography or people who are influencers still need to require permits in order to film or take photos in Egypt. Now, I'm not saying that you might not be able to fly under the radar, but if they start to ask somebody why they're taking photos and videos and they discover that you are a YouTube channel that has millions of subscribers and that's how you make a living, is you make a living off of making these photos and videos, they might class you as the same as somebody who is a cinematographer who's going to Egypt to shoot a film. There's kind of a blurred line between people who are influencers or who have really popular YouTube channels and who make a living doing that, and then people who are traditional, filmmakers. And that blurred line might mean that somebody in Egypt could say, hey, you actually need to get one of the official permits in order to film in a public space, because you're not just using this video for your own enjoyment or to show friends at home. You're actually pushing this out to millions of people and you're making a lot of money off of it. So you're gonna need a permit. And last but not least, drones. Drones are still an extremely sensitive subject in Egypt, and this new announcement does not apply to drones. So what I always tell people is just leave your drones at home. Don't bring them to Egypt. I've heard stories about people's drones getting confiscated, then they weren't able to get them back, or they had to pay a lot of money in order to get them back. I just would recommend leaving your drones at home and not bringing them to Egypt at all. You're gonna have really amazing photographs and videos even without using your drone. So that's it. We just talked about the new announcement that was made by the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities regarding street photography in Egypt now being allowed everywhere without a permit. However, there were still a few important caveats that I wanted to point out. Let me know in the comments below what your experience was like taking photos or taking video in Egypt if you have already been to Egypt. And if you haven't been to Egypt, send me an email at egyptadventurestravel@gmail.com. I would love to talk about the services that I can offer you for your trip, from making a simple customized itinerary to doing the whole trip for you and leading it as your private tour guide. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Gus with Egypt Adventures Travel, and I will see you next week.